care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Kurt are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, go. You don't know. What? Your hands aren't ready?
No, I've got to.
Where are you? Where are you? Where your hands aren't ready to clap?
I wasn't recording. First of all.
Okay. We haven't even gone down the route of support our Patreon. We don't even have Patreon.
No, we do not.
We do this for the love of Blossom, not to generate revenue. We do this because it needs to be done.
Right.
Because someone has to do it.
That's right.
Right?
It's a perfect way to start episode 7, Curtis.
I was hoping for a humorous escape, and this episode was not it.
No. And you're certainly not going to get it from this podcast.
No. Oh, maybe Gallagher will show up again.
Oh, God, I hope.
All right. Give me the intros, buddy, or give me the synopsis.
Episode 7, Curtis. It's titled Thanks for the Memorex. First aired February 18th, 1991. Disney Plus. Blossom decides a wilderness retreat will keep the family together.
That doesn't make me want to watch it, but that's kind of on par. That's bang on. Very bare bones.
And our pal at TV Database.
The guy that does his job properly.
Right. Prompted by old home movies Blossom has transferred to video, the family retreats to the cabin by the lake where they'd shared happier times in the past.
He's giving too much information. There's no happy medium. Why do I have to know she transferred them to video?
That
is
true.
Such an unnecessary detail. Blossom sits on the couch and watches old movies. Maybe the guy that does those ones, and I'm just going to say it's some lazy girl that works at Disney Plus, they should have a baby, and that baby would do a good job of summarizing Blossom episodes. Because I find neither are hitting the mark for me.
All right, so we're 0 for 2 on the week on synopsis.
Yeah, you both need to reevaluate your jobs, whoever's doing this out there.
Get into it, Curtis.
We hit play. It asks me if I want to skip intro. I say no. This week when she straddles the chair and leans back, I have to look somewhere else. And I find on the floor, just under her shelf on the floor, there's this weird, long-faced, it looks like a lumberjack action figure. It kind of weirded me out. We talked about the Dire Straits music video a couple weeks ago, or just the song Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. They made it's like the first ever computer animated video ever. The character kind of reminds me of one of the characters from that music video. It's got a really long face.
Okay.
It's wearing like red denim and and like brown pants. And it's coming out of a well like Samara from The Ring. I don't know what to make of that.
That's terrifying.
Look for it next time.
All right, so Blossom's sitting on the couch laughing, and she's watching an old family movie.
Or is she transferring them? When I transfer them, I've got like 3 remotes in my hand. So,
yeah.
You know?
And Curtis, we see the mother for the first time.
Blown away. Immediately, like, this episode legit punches me in the gut like 2 minutes in.
I know, right?
Because everybody in that car is so happy. And I'm just connected the dots already of where this is going. My parents are not divorced, but that's got to be sad, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's got to be really sad watching how things used to be when your parents were still together and having memories of how fun that was. Like, that's got to be super tough.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's weird that neither of us can relate to that. I said that on episode 1, that somehow both of our parents are still together, which is really rare in today's landscape.
Yeah.
Not throwing shade or anything. I just think statistically the fact that both of our parents are still together is a weird coincidence.
This show dives heavily into that subject.
Yeah, I'm sad already watching this because there's only one place this can go.
Right. So Blossom's just reminiscing on the good times. They're all in the car. They're singing Baby It's Cold Outside. I didn't know that originally this wasn't even supposed to be a Christmas song.
What, really?
Yeah,
Wow, you went deep with that.
I did.
All I wrote about that is they're singing Baby It's Cold Outside, but I've always enjoyed its original working title when it was called Prelude to Sexual Assault.
Oh, no. See, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to give into that whole ridiculous banning of the song.
I had those sentiments years before that came out. When that was a thing a couple years ago, somebody like screenshotted my Facebook post from 2014 when I made that joke. And that's actually our friend Jay Neufeld's joke, to be perfectly honest. And that wasn't even really a joke.
Really?
I remember him saying that back in 2013 when we were at like some Christmas party, and yeah, he was like, I don't like this song. It's just like prelude to sexual assault. And I was like, that's funny. I'm going to steal that and use that on Facebook. And then it became a thing like 7 years later.
Did you start? It was you that started it.
That song has no value to me. I think it's a bad song, to be perfectly honest. Not because of its immoral content or ideologies. I just don't think it's a good song.
Fair enough.
If you're going to ping pong back and forth between male and female, I mean, you might as well just listen to Roxette, right?
Well, yeah, that goes without saying.
They wrote the book on that.
Always go to Roxette.
Or July Talk.
All right, so Baby It's Cold Outside was written in 1944. While the lyrics make no mention of a holiday, it is popularly regarded as a Christmas song owing to its winter theme. And as of 2020, there are over 400 covers of the song.
That makes sense.
That's wild.
On Christmas, we'll release a cover. Sal and Curtis sing Baby It's Cold Outside.
Amazing.
In honor of episode 7, the dark episode, when the sadness seeped through the Russo house.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy in this one.
You missed one of my favorite attention to detail Blossom moments yet.
Let's hear it.
Blossom's mom is wearing a giant hat.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yes, she was. They don't mention it, they don't point to it.
No, but that is fantastic attention to detail.
Curtis sat back and nodded happily. Good job. Thumbs up, writers.
Good catch by you, and yeah, that's a...
Oh, man.
Well
it makes sense. That would be why she's got that weird thing with big hats.
Yeah, totally.
It's all her mom issues. Anthony comes in hot, Sal.
He's kind of frantic. Makes me wonder. I get a little suspicious.
Right?
Why is he barging in the house all frantic?
I wrote, he says, quote, "Where's Joy?" I know I meant to write "Where's Joey?" but "Where's Joy?" perfectly sums up this episode. Because that's what I'm wondering in episode 7 of Blossom. Where's Joy? So he's looking for Joey. I gotta find Joey. And the way he's so frantic, I Googled to see if Joey was ever a slang for drugs. The way he can't find, right?
Yeah.
It's not, but it's a British slang for a fool, duper victim.
Yeah.
It's also a prison slang for a package smuggled in or out of prison, as well as an Old English slang for a clown. However, over in Australia, Joey is slang for an effeminate man. So in Australia, the Australians watching this episode, this scene takes on a completely different vibe.
Wouldn't a Joey in Australia be like a baby kangaroo?
Well, it's that too, but everybody knows that. It's also an effeminate man, Sal.
So if I go to Australia and call someone a Joey, I might get punched in the face.
Possibly.
Wow. I'll keep that one in the old back pocket.
When we go to Australia, we'll just run around asking if anybody knows where Joeys are. No, that didn't work then. You know the joke I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Tagging you in, Sal.
All right.
Talk.
Let's talk about Anthony's wardrobe of the week. Should we do it?
Let's do it.
He's sporting this week a Canadian tuxedo. Denim on denim. I love it. Denim Dan.
He's down.
Right? Blossom doesn't even seem like a little bit phased that Anthony's walking in the house all frantic, like he hasn't done that in the past.
Yeah.
He asks where Joey is, and Blossom doesn't know, and then he just leaves.
Yeah.
He didn't even, look around the house. He walked into the kitchen, was like, "Where's Joey?" She's like, "I don't know." And then he's like, "All right." And then he ran out the door.
She was like, "Oh, man, he's smuggling packages in and out of prison again."
He's smuggling packages for those effeminate males in Australia.
Oh, you're mixing your slang. That's amazing.
Blossom is just looking for anyone at this point to show the video to. She's all excited about it.
And my heart is already sad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sad for Blossom already.
You know it's going to be a sad time for Blossom in this episode. Mm-hmm. Because everybody seems to just have their mind elsewhere. So it's shown with Anthony. He's looking for Joey. He's not there. He leaves the house. So she walks back into the living room. There's Joey running down the stairs, sprinting out the door.
He's just like, I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah.
I love his voice. I'm slowly being obsessed with Joey Lawrence's Joey voice on this show.
It's really good.
It almost dips into Ernie territory sometimes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Every time I try to mimic his voice, I end up doing Ernie, and it's almost more rewarding.
Bert, Bert.
Because, every time I see him, Bert, they were dancing, I swear. Bert. I've ruined that character for you now. That's all you're going to think about. Whoa, Bert. Whoa.
Oh, my God. That is way too similar. Wow.
Whoa, Bert. Bert, where's my mom? Bert. Go to bed, Ernie. Bert.
Oh, Bert. Don't get mad again, Bert.
I don't want to sleep in the box again, Bert. Bert's just standing there holding the other side of the alligator clips by the car battery. Bert, no.
Don't do it, Bert.
I promise to behave. Let's just watch Blossom. Okay, episode 7.
Bert, toss me my rubber ducky. No, Bert, that's the toaster.
No. Okay. So Joey comes downstairs. He's like, "Hey, Bert," and he goes. He leaves.
Yeah.
So there's one person left that can save this day.
Right.
That can pay attention to Blossom. And it's her dad. Nick comes in and he's complaining about how tires are expensive and how he's late for his gig laying down tracks. He's going to work all night laying down tracks for a bunch of dancing raisins.
Yes.
Because apparently the old writers are back. Let's start taking shots at anything that moves in 1991. But I also called BS and I Googled it because while AC was on vocals, Bebop was on drums, and Stretch was on bass, I knew Red was on guitar, but Red actually sometimes played piano. So fine, you get that one, Blossom. But I did not remember any of the 4 actually playing piano.
Yeah, I don't either.
No, they did it though. Red sometimes played piano. I looked it up. I made a comment. I said, I wonder if they had like 3 different writing teams that just leapfrogged episodes. There were no shots taken last episode, and then like 3 episodes ago it was all just random shots. And we'll get into another thing that comes back this episode that hasn't been here for a few episodes.
All right, can't wait.
In a little bit here. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Blossom is cooking in the kitchen and singing "Baby It's Cold Outside."
Yep.
Anthony comes back in looking for his brother.
He's asking for either his brother or a feminine gentleman or a package from a prison. We don't know.
Stole my joke. I said if you're watching in the U.S., he's looking for a clown. If you're watching in England, it's an oh no! You got it. I said he comes in looking for his brother if you're watching in the U.S., a clown if you're watching in England, or an effeminate man if you're watching in Australia.
Bingo. Do you notice something else about Anthony as he walks in?
Short sleeves, my friend.
Yes, he's wearing short sleeves.
I was not happy.
Sorry, man.
I was not happy about that.
I mean, I shut you down on that last week, but now it's official.
Well, it's official now. He does not have track marks.
Yeah, so she's cooking, and Anthony seems weirded out by that, so then he asks her to prove that
I'm weirded out that he's dressed like Arthur Fonzarelli for some reason.
Hey!
Hey, Blossom! Bert! It's all happening in this house.
Oh, man. So he's weirded out by Blossom making pancakes, so he asks her to prove that she's actually his sister, and Blossom burps. Estelle Getty, calling out Blossom for being gassy on last week's episode, now checks out.
Oh, Sal, you connected those dots. Well done.
Right?
Well done, my friend.
Yeah.
That went right over my head.
There you go, man.
Blossom is making breakfast like the good old days, and Anthony says, "What good old days?" And that joke is ahead of its time. The crowd does not know. The 1991 crowd does not know how to react to that joke. Well, I find it hilarious and well written, and that's a joke that you would hear on TV nowadays.
Right.
So props to that. Like, the audience really didn't know how to react to that.
Fair enough.
And Anthony says he just remembers the fights and the yelling and the slamming of doors. And Blossom says it wasn't all bad, and she's making shape pancakes, just like Mom. And Anthony, in a really funny line, says, they don't look anything like Mom. And I wrote, yeah, because there's something in the pan.
Nice.
They get the crowd back. They pop big for that one.
Yeah. And then Joey walks in the door doing his best Ernie impression here. Just walks in moaning like,
I wrote, that's not a whoa.
It sounded close to it, but it was not a whoa.
And then I put my hands on my head, because what is he wearing? A baggy red long-sleeve shirt with a black collar, gray sleeves, and a giant gray pocket at the bottom right side. Like, the pocket ends just above the bottom of his shirt. What is that?
I couldn't tell you, man. Joey's upset that he failed his English test, and now that he has to get Nick to sign off on it. And he's blaming Anthony for not helping him study. But Anthony was frantically looking for him twice. So I don't know how they didn't bump into each other, considering they live in the same house.
Right?
But anyways. So Anthony asks Joey why he didn't remind him, and Joey says, oh, I can't remember everything. So then Blossom tries to cheer him up by showing the funny-shaped pancakes that she's made. And Joey says even if he smothered syrup all over Heather Locklear, it wouldn't make him feel better.
And the crowd laughs, and one guy goes, whoa! And I didn't even register that as a dirty joke until the audience took me there. Well done, 1991 studio audience.
They were all over that one.
Perverts. Bunch of perverts in 1991.
Yeah. So Nick walks in pissed, and then he gives the finger to the mailman.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how to process this. So he's mad. He says, thanks for delivering the bills. And then gives her gives the mail person the finger.
Yeah.
And then says, she had it coming.
Right.
Now it's like the joke on top of the joke that he was flipping off a lady delivering the mail.
That was the ultimate payoff of that joke.
Moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Seems odd.
They're really developing the Nick character into a moody bitch wild card.
Especially in this episode. There was a few surprising reactions to things that he had that I was like, what is happening right now?
So Nick came back from an 18-hour session playing 4 notes.
Yeah, so Blossom tries to calm everyone down and makes everyone sit down for pancakes, even though nobody wants to. But they all feel bad for her, so they do it.
Well, she says, please, like a family. And that's just such a... You can't say no to that,
Well, that's
you know?
true, yeah.
And I felt bad already, again, because like, oh, she's trying so hard, and I know this is just going to lead to heartbreak.
Well, you would be right, Curtis, because it does.
Yeah, she's trying to turn back the clock and remind everyone of the good old days. And Joey shows Nick his failed English test and says, well, you can't accuse me of cheating, Bert.
Yeah, to which Nick grounds him for a month, and the crowd doesn't give a shit this time.
No. I'm just feeling bad. I'm feeling bad for Blossom here. Like, I actually feel this. One of the hardest moments growing up is realizing when those warm memories are never going to happen again.
Feel bad for Blossom. I feel bad for Joey. This is the 3rd episode in a row that he's been grounded.
Well, don't fail English.
Fair enough. Yeah, I do feel bad for Blossom. You're right.
Like I said, that's one of the hardest parts of growing up is realizing those childhood moments are never going to happen again.
No.
And this is the exact moment for her. She realizes that.
It's a good
point.
point.
And they continue fighting, and Joey skips the parry and goes straight to the thrust and says,
right?
What about Anthony? I mess up and I'm grounded. Anthony messes up 4 years and he gets an apartment over the garage, and he's not wrong, but geez.
Yeah, damn. Like, way to open up that Band-Aid, man.
Right? Great shot of Anthony going, what did I do? And Joey goes, every drug known to man. And one guy in the audience goes, ah!
I wrote all in caps, damn, son.
Right? I fell off my chair at that point.
Yeah, that was harsh. So Anthony storms off, rightfully so.
Yep.
Well, actually, not before Nick asks him why he didn't help Joey with his test. And Tony said he was too busy trying to stay sober. And Nick tells him that excuse is getting a little old.
Right? What is happening in the Russo house today?
Yeah, they're just one pissed off family.
Anthony says, this conversation's getting old too, and bounces. Then Nick bounces. Then Joey bounces.
Yeah.
And then alone, Blossom makes a joke out of how she had a bunch of old home movies transferred to videotape so they could watch them together after breakfast. And I thought the tone of this is a little off.
How so?
I feel like Les has broken Blossom in previous episodes. But she rolled with the punches of this heartbreaking moment rather well.
Yeah, that's true.
It actually didn't really have a lot of weight. She was like, all right, well, I guess I'll watch it myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of played for comedy, which, I mean, I probably would have just sat down and cried. So,
Right.
All right, hit us with the next home movie, Sal. What do we see?
So, the home movie, we see Nick obviously pressing record and running away from the camera into the distance, where we see the mother pregnant with Blossom, and a younger Anthony and a younger Joey. And the younger Joey this time was clearly played by the youngest Lawrence brother, who I had to look up his name because nobody remembers this one. Andrew Lawrence.
Andy, isn't it?
Andrew Lawrence, yeah. So I was actually wondering, like, this might have been like the first time they ever collabed on something.
Yeah.
It had to have been.
This is like the future cast of Brotherly Love right here.
And the future cast of Money Plane.
Sure.
Let me tell you about Money Plane, Curtis.
I don't know what that is.
I'm not surprised that you don't. Money Plane is a movie that came out last year, directed by Matthew Lawrence. And all three of the Lawrence brothers have cameos in it.
Shut up.
Let me hit you with a summary here, Curtis.
In 2020?
Yeah, a professional thief with $40 million in debt and his family's life on the line must commit one final heist, rob a futuristic airborne casino filled with the world's most dangerous criminals, starring one Adam Copeland as Jack Reese, and the villain is played by none other than Kelsey Grammer.
You are making this up. Joey Lawrence directed a movie starring Edge.
Matthew Lawrence directed a movie starring
Matthew
Edge,
Lawrence.
but all three Lawrence brothers are in it. You should watch the trailer after this. It's about as good as you think it would be.
So excellent.
Yes.
I see Edge pulling his hair back like he does before he spears someone.
Yeah.
Cut to Joey Lawrence going, whoa! Back to him pulling his hair back. Back to Joey Lawrence, whoa! Back to Edge pulling his hair back. Back to Joey Lawrence, whoa! Just, this thing writes itself! Matthew's the middle one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the one that was on Boy Meets World.
You know, he didn't stumble into that by accident. Like,
No.
he's been writing this script with WWE's Edge for like the last 15 years.
Oh, for sure.
And it finally got greenlit. It wasn't just a him looking around and, we could get Adam Copeland for this role. No, he has been dreaming. He has been storyboarding this methodically for 15 years.
Well, they also landed Fraser Crane.
He's probably just doing community service. I can see Matthew, like, packing up his portfolio and standing in line at these cons and pitching it. You know? Okay, to HBO. There's a floating casino, and it stars my brothers and Edge.
Pass. Straight to DVD it is.
And then Anchor Bay was like, oh my god, get this man some money. Where do you come up with these complex layered plots? Oh, where are we with episode 7?
So,
okay.
yeah, there's another flashback of pregnant mother with Blossom. And the whole family up at the lake, it looks like. And this is where it kind of hits Blossom, that she's all alone doing this herself, reliving these good memories.
There's a really weird slow dissolve from the video to Blossom.
Yeah.
It's really weird. What it was the show came back like 30 seconds shy. And they're like, well, we got to fill it somehow. Let's just slow the dissolve down. Art! Her and Six are having a sleepover.
Yes.
She's showing the home video to Six, because now Six and her are back on good terms, and it's been 3 weeks since Blossom answered the phone when Gorby called her. And
Right.
Adrian is probably pregnant by now.
And who's Bobby? Who is that guy? He doesn't even exist anymore in this world.
There'll be another Bobby soon, don't you worry.
Yeah.
We'll have 4 Bobbies in no time. But I thought Six did a really good job here. Like, the writing.
Yeah?
She's a good friend. She thanks Blossom for showing her those videos. And then she says she forgot how pretty her mom is. And that's exactly what you say in an awkward situation like that. I thought that was a really good...
I saw that way differently,
really good-
man.
Go for it.
I was like, the way that Six said, oh, that's really great. She said it about as enthusiastically as I would have to a friend making me sit through that.
Right? But what do you say?
Yeah, it's kind of awkward.
You said it making fun of yourself, but that's probably exactly the tone and delivery I would have said, where you're kind of like testing the waters.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you don't want to commit and be like, man, why did your bitch mom leave?
Yeah,
Or,
that's true. That's true.
You know, like,
yeah, because I guess
it's
she's
tough
trying to look
read-
at the good times, right? So you don't want her. You don't want to just like
It's-
rag on her mom for being a deadbeat.
Yeah, it's tough to read the room in a situation like that.
Yeah,
so I thought
fair
she
enough.
played it well, where she just kind of threw something positive out there, like, yeah.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
That was a nod to the hat to the writers again, because I thought that played out very well. But,
Oh, here it is. I know where you're going with this.
then the wheels kind of come off.
Yeah.
Okay. Blossom says she wonders, and Six cuts her off and says, I wonder too. I wonder what my husband will look like naked. And I swear we're back to writing Team B, where Six is the thirsty one.
Yeah.
Right? We're taking random shots at pop culture icons. Six is thirsty. Anyway, Six continues to wonder what her husband will look like naked, and if she will laugh the first time she sees him. What the fuck, Six?
Right.
There's an avalanche of insecurities. I'm glad I didn't watch this when I was an actual teenager. Being laughed at when someone sees you naked for the first time wasn't even on my long list of teenage anxieties. I don't think there's a guy in the world that has ever wondered if he will laugh the first time he sees a girl naked.
Right.
Like, that's not a thought you ever have. But then, of course, Six keeps going, and she's not sure what it'll be like to have a mortgage or a baby or breasts. And let me help you out with those, Six. Breasts, awesome. Mortgage, not awesome.
Yeah.
Babies, 70-30. There was a lot to take in that 20 seconds of the Six monologue.
Yeah, there really is.
I just looked up and my jaw dropped and my fingers stopped typing. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, it was a weird turn for Six's only scene in this episode.
I was back to being 16 and being like, is someone going to laugh at me the first time they see me naked? Is that a thing? Is that a thing girls do?
Apparently.
Do they give you the elevator and decide if they're going to openly laugh in your face or not? Is that... I don't know. Then I wonder if Six was just puking her feelings out like that to try to lighten the mood.
Yeah, it could have been.
To try to steer away from where this conversation is obviously going, because Blossom shuts her down immediately.
Yeah.
She's thrown out like a million different avenues to go down, and Blossom doesn't take the bait.
No, well, I mean, Blossom's only got one thing on her mind, right?
She's wondering what life would have been like if her family stayed together.
Yeah.
She says the people in the video are so happy. Why can't she make things like the way they were? And Six is like, you can't.
Yeah, I thought that was really
You know,
good
Six-
from Six, actually.
I thought it's Jenna Von Oy's week to shine, I think, in the acting category. I thought this scene was amazing. She really, really was believable as the friend who wasn't really sure where this was going and threw a whole bunch of random distractions out there. And when she finally realized this conversation was going to happen, she just, like, stepped up.
Yeah.
And says, you can't.
And she also
Yeah.
said, because Blossom said she was wondering what it would be like if her parents stayed together. And Six said, well, that's not wondering, that's just torturing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, Jenna Von Oy knocked this scene out of the park.
Yeah, her only scene in the episode.
But it really brought back, like, that puke of weird wonders that she just went through.
Yeah.
Was just a distraction, like I said. Because it went weird, and then it was kind of the payoff for, like, okay. I see what she was trying to do. She's not actually dumb.
Yeah.
Blossom wonders if going to the lake will bring her family back together. And Six says, you know what brings families back together? The flu. So she's still trying to, like, get some levity here.
True.
And after a year locked down in a pandemic lockdown, you know, she's not wrong. My wife and kids and I have probably never been closer, so...
Yeah, there's nothing truer than that, that's for sure. Especially today.
Blossom says thanks, and now Six wants to talk about naked men again. Blossom says maybe later, and then poor Blossom pretends to go to sleep, and in reality just spends the next 5 minutes staring wide-eyed at the wall with no expression on her face, pretending to sleep,
Oh, for
and
sure.
pretending not to hear Six furiously ringing the devil's doorbell.
Oh, Jesus, man.
welcome.
Oh, God.
Nick is in Blossom's room hanging a hook
Yeah.
onto the door.
Blossom asks if he should hire a guy to do that. I'm not handy, but if you can't put up a hook, then there's some serious problems.
Mm-hmm.
Although I probably do what Nick did, because I noticed right away he's putting it on the wrong side of the door.
Did you? Oh, I'm an idiot. I did not notice that.
Punchline incoming is what I wrote.
I wrote, looking good, Nick.
Two very accurate statements.
So here's the pitch to go back to the lake. She says, remember how you've been exhausted and the boys have been fighting? He says, well, I momentarily forgot about that, but thanks for the recap. And again, the audience doesn't know what to do with that one.
It's brilliant.
I wonder if even in 1991 they didn't have lights, like words that lit up, and they just had some poor lady with cue cards.
Yeah.
Because what one does she hold up there? Is it a ooh? Is it a laugh? She probably just drops them.
I think she dropped. I was going to say, I think she dropped the cards on the ground at that point. And the audience is like, we don't know how to react.
So many misses with a live audience, and that's becoming one of my favorite parts of this show.
Right.
I feel like if they added the laugh track in 2021, where people laugh the hardest would be way different.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And that's fun to think about.
Yeah, that's a good point. He doesn't have any interest in going. Blossom said she called ahead, and the old cabin was still available. And Blossom just has good memories of being up there, but clearly Nick remembers it differently. It's pretty incredible to think about, like, when you see things through, like, a kid lens, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's what this episode is doing for me, too.
Yeah, if you think of, like, any family vacation that you went on as a kid, you only remember, like, oh, yeah, that was fun. Remember when we saw this on the way, or, like, this happened? But, like, you don't know. You don't know what's going on. Like, maybe your parents are losing their minds. Like, they got lost. Something's off. You know what I mean? Like, you would just, for the most part, you would just never remember those things.
Oh, absolutely. That's a weird part of growing up.
Yeah, for sure.
She pitches hard. She says, last time we were there, she left something behind and she wants it back. And he calls her. He's like, what? And she goes, the talking, the singing, the having fun. She wants that back.
Yeah.
And there's no saying no to that. Nick's heart breaks and says, okay. Then he realizes he hung the hook on the outside of the door.
And then Blossom ends it with, can I have one on the inside too?
Yeah, I bet you that line was ad-libbed.
Yeah, I wonder.
I bet you she just threw that in and the writers were like, good, yeah,
that's pretty good.
Let's use it. Yeah, because it felt a little out of place. Usually it's just laughter, fade to the next scene. But it seems like she left enough time for the joke to play itself out, and then she threw it in.
Well, if that line was improv, then props again.
Yeah.
Props again to Maya. So we're back to the home video again of them in the car singing Baby It's Cold Outside. And then another slow dissolve to Blossom in the front seat of the car, just thinking about the memories as they're on their way up to the cabin.
Yeah.
However, they are all stuck in traffic in the jam-packed car.
And everyone is grumpy.
Yes. Can you blame them?
No, my heart continues to hurt for Blossom. Because it just keeps getting worse. She just wants to relive a good, warm memory.
Yeah.
And it won't, life will not give it to her. And I feel that. This is a great episode in that way of everybody lives through these moments, right?
For sure.
The world craps on your good intentions sometimes, and that's what's exactly happening to poor Blossom. And then another good moment the writers give us is where she finally breaks. And she says, you know what? You guys are miserable? Well, I'm miserable as well. And then immediately someone has to flip and diffuse the situation when that happens, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly Nick is like, yeah, sorry, Blossom. Yeah, we're okay. There's always that one good Samaritan in the group that when the last person who's been pushing and everybody's been rallying against finally breaks,
gives in, gets
you
fed
feel
up,
so bad.
Yeah.
You feel so bad.
For sure.
And someone comes out the other side and takes up the cause. In this case, it's Nick.
Yeah, so Nick apologizes to her and then makes the boys apologize to her as well.
Yeah, he's going to take a shortcut and everyone freaks out. Fade to commercial break, fade up, they're lost.
It's when he says that he's going to take the shortcut and they all start yelling for him to stop. I feel like there was like 20 takes of this done. And by the end, like if you go back and watch Anthony in this scene, I feel like he was just so fed up with this by the end because right away he goes from like 0 to 11.
I did kind of notice that and I didn't write it down, but yeah.
I thought that was great.
It was pretty overacted. I do remember Anthony yelling now.
Yeah.
His agent was probably like, we got to get you off this show. Just start.
Just start tanking it, man.
You're a former drug addict. They could probably easily write you out. I'll get you on Full House or empty nest or whatever was this one, you know.
Yeah.
You're a good-looking kid. You're going somewhere, Anthony. We'll get you bigger roles. Maybe you'll end up in the Dark Knight one day. Oh, will I be playing Batman? Well,
no. I'll have a scene with Batman, right? Well.
Will I play the Joker? Well, you'll be a clown. Cool, so I'm the Joker.
You get to see my face, though, right? I'll take it.
I'm sure he's way happier than I am. He's not reviewing crap I did.
Imagine he starts doing that, though.
Strip Down, Season 3, Episode 2. Teresa Sekirka, what is this? Shout out to the local music showcase that Sal and I used to work on back in the day when we worked together at our cable TV station. If Anthony reviewed Strip Down, it would be full circle. It would. Oh my God! Could you imagine if he released one a week like we did, and just became this huge war?
We'll make it happen.
All right.
Damn, man.
Back to Blossom.
All right.
They're lost. So Nick is a man and can't use a map.
Yeah.
Or won't use a map. And then Nick, you talking about overacting. This guy.
This was it, man.
Just
the
has
way he freaks out here.
He just has an absolute breakdown.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car and he just comes unglued.
He just starts screaming over the top that he hates everything, and
this was the most unblossom scene I think I've seen yet.
Yeah, it was so out of character for Nick.
Yeah, it was. I swear, this is like we rotated around enough where the writers of episode 2 are back for episode 7.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd.
We'll have to see if it's a similar feel in episode 12. Maybe they have 5 writing crews that alternate. At this point, what is going on here?
Yeah, it was so out of place and just weird. So then after his freak out, he gets back in the car all calm and just says everything's fine. And then at this point I'm saying to myself, well, it's a perfect time for the car not to start.
Maybe you wrote this episode.
Right?
Pause. Here we go, Sal.
All
Here
right.
we go. Put the tinfoil hat on.
Okay.
2 weeks in a row. Are you listening with earphones on?
No.
You should be. He gets in the car. It won't start. The laugh track goes, and in the left channel only, it's the same dude saying something super muffled.
Really?
Yep, that's the exact moment. Last week, it's some guy adding commentary of his own, and he's slipping it in. I swear to God, I'm not crazy. Someone at some level of putting these shows either on DVD or digitizing them for a streaming service added lines of commentary in random scenes. I'm 100% convinced of this. I can't tell what he's saying, but he's like, and it is completely not from the studio audience. And I wish I could decipher what he's saying, but it's isolated, but it's low, if that makes sense.
Right. I have not heard this yet.
Go back. That's twice in a row. I'm obsessed with this now. I almost want to record it and send it to my audio friends and be like, can you isolate this? Because movies have taught me that even though when you mix audio together, it's like baking a cake, they could somehow pull the sugar out. They'll be like, oh, well, just let me run some filters. Okay, now let's just peek the flange here. You know, and on the screen it'll be all all these graphs and stuff. And then they'll be like, all right, let's see what he's really saying. Kill your parents. Kill your parents.
Yeah, and then Blossom gets pulled.
Scandemic. 2021 Scandemic. Whoa! It's completely what's happening.
Gotta be.
Okay, that's the only time I hear this guy. Nick is surprised that Blossom remembers the lake as happy times.
Yeah.
They kind of break off into pairs, right?
Yeah, so Joey and Anthony go off for what? Where do they say that they're going?
Yeah, I don't know.
They just walk off.
They just
into the woods.
Yeah, all right. So then Nick has his heart-to-heart with Blossom.
Yes, this is our piano moment of the week.
Last time they went to the lake was the beginning of the end of his marriage.
Right.
And like you touched on before, it's crazy to think of how different your childhood memories would be measured against your parents.
Right, exactly.
Like those same moments.
Yeah.
Oh.
He said, well, they were in their cabin doing Peter Pan. They were in their cabin doing Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
I would not have got that joke, except I shot a local production of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf like 3 months before lockdown last year.
Oh, really?
I guess that'd be like November 2019.
Yeah.
And I've grown up my whole life thinking that just was like some stupid play.
Is that not what it is?
Oh my God, Sal, it is dark.
Damn.
Yeah, it is. You should look it up. It's basically a couple has another couple over, and just for a night of drinks, and throughout the night it just gets more and more uncomfortable as the host's marriage just crumbles in front of this couple they've invited over.
Wow.
It is bleak, man. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I felt like a thespian getting that reference. I was like, oh,
Well
good
done,
shout
man.
out to Virginia Woolf, my good man. When you're not cultured like I am, Sal,
Right.
you know, you're not going to get these jokes about theatre.
That's what it is. High society.
Yes, my monocle fell out. I chuckled
Yeah.
so hard at that. Oh, good reference, I say. Touché.
Touche, good sir. Huzzah!
Tut tut. All right. Is that how smart people talk? I don't know.
So Blossom said they looked happy in the video, and Nick said if they were happy, they'd still be married.
Oh,
He makes a good point.
not wrong.
Yeah. So then Blossom asked if they ever loved each other.
I point out, while they're having this heart-to-heart in the woods, there's clearly a red camera light reflecting off the car.
Really?
Unless there's something else in the woods with a giant red light on it.
Yeah. It's the
And then in a
Terminator.
really good moment, Jenna Von Oy got the acting nod
Right.
so far this episode. But now I almost want to give it back to Nick. After his overacting, he has a really good delivery where, like, she asks what happened, and he kind of pauses and really thinks about his answer and says, "We couldn't get through life together, so we tried to get through it apart." Which, it's a pretty good line, and his delivery, his pause,
Yeah, it was good.
I really felt that. Yeah, I guess he was saving it up. Because his work so far in this episode has been subpar
For
and
sure.
all over the place.
Yeah.
But he really brought it home with that.
Yeah, he did. It was in these moments like this that it kind of works better for him than what he was doing
Yeah.
up until this point.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it was well done. So Nick says, life happens. And then Blossom says it hasn't been working out lately for them either. They all live in the same house, but they're not really a family. Damn, that's heavy.
Yeah. Well, she asks, "How's that working out?" And he goes, "Well, you tell me." Which, ugh,
Right?
this is not what I needed this week.
Sorry, man.
Where's Bobby making a ladder in shop class and putting it in her window? Right? What can I have with that episode this week?
Where's Gorby in her new wig?
Right? Gorby is kicked so hard to the curb after 6 came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Blossom says, "Yeah, we live in the same house, but that doesn't make us family." It's just like, God.
Yeah, some heavy stuff, man.
And then we dissolve to Joey and Anthony wandering through the woods, and I'm like, all right, Kay, let's get some comedy in, but
It does not happen.
take it away.
The first thing that stood out to me immediately was that Joey was wearing the Magic 8-Ball leather jacket that Putty wore on Seinfeld.
He sure was.
And I had to know, I had to dive into it. I'm sorry, I just had to.
No, do it. I almost did, and then I thought, no, Sal
Yeah,
and your love of Seinfeld, you've got this covered. You've got this covered.
So Mental Floss did an article about it, and the designer came up with it in 1986. He got the inspiration, noticing distinctive shoe sizes affixed to the back of bowling shoes.
Oh, weird. That is totally what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I can't look at that the same anymore.
Jackets went for $775.
In 1990?
Yeah, so that was the original. What happens is it became a fixture in music videos and on television. The jackets were so popular that several murders and assaults were blamed on them in major metropolitan areas.
Wow.
Right? So in the early 90s, these jackets took off, and the success was so huge that a bunch of knockoffs came, and eventually the market for these jackets became so oversaturated that they lost all popularity. It was so diluted by the mid-90s, and in 1998, when the jacket appeared on that episode of Seinfeld with Putty wearing it, it was a complete joke. It was like a joke that he was wearing this jacket. He was shamed for wearing it.
I love how even the jacket side story ended in a dark place.
Right?
It caused murders and assaults and became a joke. Anthony drops a whoa. Did you catch that?
No, I did not.
Anthony says, whoa. So these two have a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
This is the first serious scene with these two characters alone.
That's true.
They've never broken off in a pair
Yeah,
and had a heart-to-heart.
They're always just kind of goofing off.
Yeah, and they're always kind of supporting whatever Blossom and Nick are doing usually.
Yeah, that's true.
So I really like this moment. Anthony says he's sorry Joey got grounded, but if he needs any help, he's there for him.
Right.
Joey says, you haven't been there for me in years. I'm like, here we come. Can there just not be some sunshine in this episode?
No.
But no, so they're going to have it here. So Anthony wasn't there when Mom and Dad split up. And Joey's like, where were you? And Anthony says he was scared of everything, so he started doing drugs and drinking, and after a while he had tested more substances than the FDA. And my good friend, adding his own commentary track on the left side only goes, ooh. No, sorry, it's more high-pitched.
I heard it that time.
He's like, it's like,
yeah.
It's more high-pitched.
Yeah,
that's him, man.
Wow.
That's him.
Interesting.
I'm glad you heard that. And it's only in the left side. Anthony says Mom and Dad were too busy fighting to notice what he was doing. And Joey says, what tipped him off? And he says, either the cop or the ambulance, which I thought was really funny.
I love Anthony's cadence. Like, the way that he says things
Yes.
is so funny. Where he's like, well, it was either the cop car or the ambulance.
To complete the acting hat trick of excellence on episode 7 of Blossom, season 1.
Yeah.
Joey Lawrence has a moment of brilliant acting where Anthony says, yeah, Mom and Dad should have looked out for me when my grades started dropping. Like, they could have grounded me. And Joey just plays this so brilliantly here
Right.
in his reaction. And he kind of goes, hey, how'd you do that? How'd you bring that around on me? And it's just such a good Joey moment because he's having a serious moment, but it's in character.
Yeah.
It's believable. I don't know if we've crossed the line where he's just an absolute idiot, which I feel like we will somewhere around season 2 as this show evolves.
Yeah, it'll happen for sure.
Because he just has that look on his face where he's having a serious moment, but he's still grinning like, I'm still goofy Joey, and this is how I process serious moments, and I'm still capable of it, but I'm still kind of, you know, I don't have a serious look on my face. I'm still fun Joey just having a serious moment.
Yeah.
I really loved it.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought Joey Lawrence played that off perfect.
And it's all good between the Russos now.
Yeah, it has a sweetness to it, and this is where I pointed out that Anthony is now dressed like Raven from ECW. If he comes out for the final scene as dressed as Macho Man, he'll have been dressed like my top 3 favorite WWF superstars of all time in one episode.
Nice.
It does not happen. So they end up at a crappy roadside restaurant, all laughing and remembering the good times. Blossom finally pulled it off, Sal.
Yes. She got the memory that she was trying to create or relive the whole time.
They're all talking about memories, and she has a memory about Mom, and she kind of stops cold and apologizes to Nick, who's like, no, it's a good memory. And he finishes the story for her.
Right.
And then he sees the old piano, and
Well-
while I know with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left, including credits, he's probably going to start playing Baby It's Cold Outside. But I really, really wanted him to just completely swerve us and bang out Just a Friend by Biz Markie.
I love how, like, while they're reliving that memory, the camera just slowly zooms out, and there's just a piano right beside them.
It's a reveal! You know the director looked at that, making this square with his thumb and
And
index
then, like,
fingers.
slowly, like, pulled it towards him and was like, yeah.
Yeah! And then he did another line off Junger's briefcase.
Yeah.
Got back to directing Blossom. There's a piano! Do you mean piano? Piano!
It's a piano!
It's all coming full circle. This is how you write goddamn TV. Take notes. I was expecting a super cheesy moment, and you get a super cheesy moment where, of course, he starts playing Baby It's Cold Outside, and each family member takes turns singing the first 4 verses, and I'm about to roll my eyes, and then they completely stick the landing because nobody knows the next line.
They all forget
Nobody
the
knows the
next
next
lines,
verse
yeah.
to that song, and they all kind of stop and then just start humming. And I thought that was a complete get out of jail free card for this episode. Because it would have been so cheesy if it just faded with them just singing the song.
Yeah, fair enough.
They get home, and the living room is dark, and they walk in and turn on the light, and I expected the mom to be standing there.
Really?
No. Yeah.
That didn't even cross my mind a little bit. That would be so weird.
I watch a lot of horror movies, and she would just be, like, dripping wet for some reason. And she'd be like...
Did you just come from a Gallagher concert?
No, she'd be, like, covered in mud and wet, and she'd be like, Nick, they're calling again, and then she'd collapse, and that's how it would end.
Jeez.
But no.
So they all say goodnight, and they're all heading upstairs, and then Nick says to Blossom that he hopes she's not disappointed they didn't make it to the lake. And Blossom said she's not disappointed.
Yeah. Good lesson.
Yeah.
Without it being a lesson. And then it gets really weird.
Yeah.
They're going for some existential stuff here. Because now we see Blossom thinking about the scene of them at the restaurant singing Baby It's Cold Outside at the piano, but as if someone was videotaping.
Yeah.
As if it was part of the home movies, which it clearly wasn't.
Does her memory see things that way, or...
Yeah. I really wasn't sure what James Cameron was going for here.
Yeah,
This one. But they went for it, good on them.
They're
trying stuff.
And that's the end of the episode.
I didn't hate the ending, but it really left me in a weird headspace. So I was like, does she know she's in a show? The characters on Blossom are starting to be self-aware.
Yeah. They're starting to learn. So, any final thoughts on the episode?
So many final thoughts.
Let's hear them.
The Pit is hungry this week. No real cameos. No extra characters, really.
Okay, well, interesting you say that.
Go ahead. I would say there were no extra characters in this.
So I looked it up. We didn't get a name for the mother. There's somebody on IMDb credited as Maddie.
Our good friend Paige.
Yes, Paige Pengra.
Oh man, this girl was an extra to the stars. Holy crap, you should have a documentary about this girl.
Yeah.
She had bit parts in, Paige Pengra, who played the mom in the home video for 3 seconds in Blossom,
yeah,
was an extra, had a bit part. I shouldn't say an extra. She, you wouldn't see her sitting at a table in the background. She had small speaking parts on Fresh Prince, Perfect Strangers, Full House, Life Goes On, Dear John, Who's the Boss, and Murder, She Wrote.
Wow.
All within 4 years of the show. Yeah, that is an impressive 80s resume.
She's in this episode credited as Maddie, and she appears in, according to IMDb, one more episode under the name Melissa. So does this version of the mother belong in the pit?
I mean, I guess technically, but she didn't even have a speaking part, did she?
Well, she sang.
It's your call. I feel like she didn't have enough screen time to be an actual character.
All right, fair enough. Maddie survives the pit.
You're going to remember Gorby. Obviously, you're going to remember Bobby. You're going to remember Stephanie, the kleptomaniac.
Yeah, Elaine, the
But
girlfriend.
I don't see why we'd have any reason to reference her ever again. She brought nothing to the table. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the mother.
All right. Hey, you're running the show, buddy.
No, I'm not running
Maddie.
this at all. This is your pit rules, man.
We'll put Maddie in the pit. How about that?
All right. Wow.
The pit was hungry. Okay, you got to give me this though. No nightmare scene.
Yep.
No Blossom sits up in bed because she had a scary dream.
It was a very different episode all around.
It felt like the writers from episode 2 returned.
You're right.
And it was all over the place. It was all over the place like episode 2.
Right.
These characters are overacting. They're acting silly, and now everybody's serious, and just it had zero flow. And they usually are pretty airtight in that way.
Fair enough.
This was definitely a much better episode than episode 2.
For sure.
There's strong character development that I feel is going to stick.
For sure, yeah. I agree.
Where everybody acted out of character in episode 2 and we never talked about it again.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right.
That's a wrap on episode 7.
Brotherly love in the credits.
Yeah.
Right? Matthew and Andrew played young Joey and Anthony.
Their first collab.
And lastly, before I let you go, the production designer was Edward Stephenson. and I just had like 3 minutes left. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to Google that guy.
Let's do
Just
it.
see if we can have a fun, like, something positive with this episode that wasn't darkness. And his daughter, Tara Stephenson, grew up in her dad's, like, filled her dad's shoes. And Edward worked on a whole bunch of sitcoms in the 90s, and his daughter, Tara, ended up working on Third Rock from the Sun, that 70s show, and Modern Family.
Cool.
Yeah,
Keeping
that's
it in the
neither
family,
here nor
man.
there. Just, right, there you go. I have no profound way to end it. It just kind of, it ended with a whimper. I guess this episode can end with a whimper, too, of our podcast.
We'll see you next week.
All right, what do you got?
Episode 8, titled The Geek.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
If we don't get like a retweet from Gallagher, it's like, what's the fucking point?
Right? He probably has a lot of growing up to do, too.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe nobody told him. Maybe we'll find out on a Blossom podcast that he's a joke.
Wait, so they're laughing at me?
He pushes the melon off the table, puts his own head down where it was.